Hey guys, Big D here. That's Liam. Welcome to another episode of Big D's and Liam's Custom Garage. This is Wednesday's episode. Today we are going to assemble our short block. We got all of our parts cleaned up. We've got our block painted. Got our oil pan painted. Got the intake manifold completely redone. No longer black. So, yeah, the agenda today is we are literally going to put together the short block and show you guys how that's done. Basically, short block is going to be the crank going back in with its new bearings, the pistons and rods going back in with their new bearings and new rings. Yes, we did go ahead and get new rings. They're not that expensive. You can get them from Summit for right around 36, 37 bucks. It's not a bad price. Takes care of all 8 pistons. Might as well do it. You know, we're changing the bearings anyway. If we're doing a true freshen up, you change your rings too. So,
and they come pre-gapped. So.
Yeah, they're pre-gapped because they're stock size. You know, they're not some performance overboard.
Yeah, we're not putting boost into it or anything like that.
They're literally stock size rings, stock gapped. That's why they were so cheap. But for extra assurance, for me, we went ahead and got new ones. So you're going to see us how to clock your rings on your pistons before they go back in. Each piston, well, not each piston, let me rephrase this. When the crank goes back in, you guys will see us torque down the first cap, and then we'll switch to hyperlapse. It'll be the same thing with the pistons and rods. You'll see us do the first one in normal speed, then the rest of them will be in hyperlapse. And yeah, so that is what the agenda is today. We are going to assemble our short block, and you guys are going to get to see it all in detail. So here we go. Okay, so what we're getting ready to do now is we're going to take our main caps off. Remember, when you're taking them off and setting them aside, to set them off the side in order, okay? They have to be in order. You do not want to get these mixed up at all.
They are numbered.
Yes, they are numbered, but still put them in order wherever you're going to lay them down at.
So you don't get them crossed up by accident.
Yes.
Comes up a little bit. You got to clean off these threads of these bolts too.
Yes, we do.
And spray out some of that stuff.
Okay, see, there's the front cap. I'm taking it off. I'm going to bring it over here onto the workbench, set it off to the side, set its bolts in it, just like so.
All right.
And we're going to do that on down the line. And then once we get these off, we will come back and show you guys how to put in your bearings and lay your crank back in place. Okay guys, welcome back. Now, what we are going to do, I am going to show you guys, well, we are going to show you guys how to install your main bearings, lube them, lay your crank in, lubricate and install the bearings on the main caps, put them on and torque them in proper sequence. Yes, I know that sounds like it's a lot, and it might be a lot of difficulty, but it's not. You're going to find this out right now.
Just go through the steps. It's not that hard.
No. Explaining it's harder than actually doing it. Okay. So, first, things first. We have our oil squirter holes are in the bottom. So we take
That's these right here, the little holes.
we take all of the lower half bearings that have the oil squirter holes in them
And our grooves.
and our grooves. Now, not all bearings have grooves. So if you happen to order bearings and you get bearings and they're just smooth with a hole, don't freak out. They do come that way also.
And
It will be
those
fine.
are just fine. These are just a little something extra.
Yeah, this is just a little something extra that I ordered just for that extra assistance with the lubrication.
Yeah.
GM already has the best oiling in the big three, always have been. So just doing this and us opening up the oil passages the way we did in a previous video, this thing is not going to have a lubrication problem.
No, not at all.
Okay, so when you're installing your bearings, okay, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I hope you can. There's these little notches on one side that are in the block right here, okay? On the back side of your bearing at the top, okay, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Liam's checking to see if it's focused enough.
Yeah, it should be fine.
There's this little, like, thing sticking out, okay? That goes in these grooves, all right? So I'm going to demonstrate for you guys. I'm going to show you how you install your first one.
So you can probably see it there now.
Yeah, Liam's showing you it with the screwdriver there. So you take your bearing. You do not lubricate the underside, by the way. No lubrication. Leave that bottom side alone. Okay? Take it. Get it lined up. Push it in as best as you can with your fingers. Most of the time you can get them all the way in with your fingers. Sometimes you need hammer assistance, but not always. Right now I have it in all the way. I'm just trying to get it squared up. Okay? Basically what you're doing is you're tapping it back and forth in its happy spot to make these top edges of the bearing on each side. What did Liam do with his pointer? He needs to keep his pointer handy. On each side here, okay? You want to get those flush with each other
Yeah, you don't-
with the block.
You don't want one side sticking out more than the other.
No, you want them down and flush. Okay, so that's your first one installed. See, told you guys, sounded more complicated than it actually is. Okay, just continue the process on down the line. Line up your groove. You give a couple to Liam. Let him freaking knock a couple out, especially since Liam's never done this before, and I'm also trying to teach him at the same time.
They do kind of snap into place.
Yes. So you just kind of slide them in,
Get
line
one-
up the groove. Sometimes they're a bitch. Okay, get it in there. So you use your rubber mallet, just do some very light tapping. Make sure she's good and flush and all the way down in. Make sure she's bottomed out in her channel. There we go. Liam did a great job installing his first main bearings, guys. He did it perfect.
And what about this main seal?
Okay, we need to put in the back bearing first. That's the top.
That's the top because it has the center groove
Yes.
instead of the bottom. instead
The
of
bottom, the,
Once the
yes,
center groove is the top.
yes.
Side groove.
Now see, what you're thinking is, the motor's upside down, so your brain's messing with you, and you're thinking that these oil grooves and these holes are the bottom.
No.
They're not. That is the top. Makes sense, right? Your flow flows down,
Yeah.
not up. Okay? So it travels through the hole, down through the groove, oils the bottom, smooth bearing. You guys will see that when we're putting the bearings in the rod caps. The bottom side of them don't have this groove. They're just smooth, okay? Now, we're gonna install this back one, like so. The back ones can be a little bit more of a pain in the ass sometimes because they're wider. Because they're wider on the back because the back of the crank carries a lot of weight load on it. You got to think you got a transmission hanging off the back of here, a flywheel, sometimes a clutch if it's a manual. So your back bearing is always going to be bigger because it needs it, plain and simple.
You also got to install the rear main seal.
Yes. Okay, guys, we just did a little bit of a boo-boo. So Liam's going to cut this next little section out. We need to have our gloves on because we're touching the inside of these bearings. You don't want to do that. Wear rubber gloves when you're doing this, please, because you do not want to get particles on your bearings that could cause bearing failure, engine failure, the whole 9 yards. We do not want that. We are flush here. All right. Now, next step, and this step can be a little tricky. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of oil and persuasion. Okay. We said flat side of the transmission, which we know this.
All right, there you go.
Okay. Liam just wiped the bearings back down. So we've corrected that problem. Okay. So,
Make sure they're clean
don't know what that
before you
tab's
put the
for.
crank in.
I ain't never had a tab come in a rear main seal. Not really quite sure what
This
that.
thing's always getting a little wet, but we need it.
Yes. Okay, guys. This is your rear main seal.
It's the wrong color, but
If you know absolutely nothing about motors, but you've been driving a car for a while and you have an oil leak from your motor and you take it to a shop and they tell you your rear main seal's leaking, this is what they're talking about right here. It is rubber, but it does have some metal in it. It's metal encased in rubber, basically. I don't know if you guys can really see that or not.
yeah, they can pretty much see it.
There's
Yeah,
you can kind of see the metal right there embedded in the rubber.
Yeah,
I'm
they can
pointing
see
at
it.
it with my pinky finger. Anyway, that's for rigidity. And then it's kind of got these funky, almost looks like window screen pattern in the rubber. Anyway, this keeps your engine oil in your motor and all the nasty stuff outside the motor.
Yeah.
So, you guys can now see why they charge you so much to change your rear main seal.
Yeah.
Because they basically have to do this. What we're doing right here is what they have to do to change this. Okay? So, just a little lesson there. Okay, now, these are tapered on one side, or got a groove on one side, I should say. But that groove goes on the inside, and the
Yeah.
flat goes toward the transmission.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? So, you basically try to install this almost like the bearing. Well, not quite. You flip it over. See how we're doing this? Actually, I don't know if you can see.
Again, you want this stuff dry. Just
Yeah. Well, you want a little lubrication in it because
Yeah,
the,
but it's like
the
a-
lubrication does help. But with this,
You don't want
you
your particles
see
in
how
there.
with the bearing we push down. With this, you flip it over and you start it on its groove. Okay, there's a groove right here that goes in here. Start it on its groove, and you basically just take it and roll it in. Okay, holding that with your thumb on one end, applying pressure, and pushing with your thumb on the other end, and just laying her in there just like that. And there's your top half, not your bottom half. Remember, motor's upside down right now. Here is now your top half of your brand new rear main seal in your motor. I'm telling you guys, if any of you end up buying this motor, you're going to get a good motor. It'll make a good daily driver. It'll make a good bracket motor, because I guarantee you it will be consistent at the track. I mean, hell, if you wanted to put it in a damn haul truck for hauling stuff, trailers and whatnot, you could use it for that too. The cam that we're particularly putting in it is more designed for bottom end and mid range. So it's more of a torque oriented cam than it is so much a horsepower. You do gain some horsepower, but not as much as you do in torque. Okay, so next step here, guys, we got our bearings in, right? Got our rear main seal in, right? Okay, we're gonna readjust this camera just a hair. Again, now you got the whole motor again. Now, this is our ultra slick red engine assembly lube. You got to put all this on all your bearings.
Small bottles, so don't like spray it everywhere.
Yes, it takes a very little amount. I will demonstrate right now.
A few drops on each bearing.
Okay, yeah, open it up. Okay, let's make sure we don't have the ketchup and mustard bottle situation where it has the seal under the cap.
Oh, it does.
Which it does. See? Wasn't I smart enough to check that? Let Liam do the mechanics version of taking that seal off.
Use a screwdriver.
You'd stab the sumbitch with the damn screwdriver. Boom. It's off. Don't have that.
You always leave a little bit on there just because.
Yes. Don't have that option most of the time at home, especially when you got a lady. She sees you go in the house with a damn screwdriver and start stabbing ketchup bottles and shit to get them open. She ain't gonna be happy.
Yeah, only in the garage.
Yeah.
Don't do that in your house.
Okay. Also, the other thing you want to check, even though we installed the bearings and they are flat, like they are supposed to be, you also want to check them for flaws. Meaning, go down your line before you install anything else. Make sure that your oil holes in the bearing are lined up with the oil holes that are in the block. Okay? That is very important. You don't want them slightly offset or anything. They need to be absolutely perfect on their oil holes.
This one's kicked off to the side here.
Wait, let me see. Actually, no, it's not. That one's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the design is kicked off to the side.
Oh yeah, it's not on the.
It's on center line.
Yeah. So all our holes are lined up perfect. So that shows us right there that.
And our main seal's in place.
Yes, it shows us that everything's going to be good. So let's put on some assembly lube. I'm going to demonstrate. Does not take much. Other reason, number 2, for wearing rubber gloves while doing this job. Put a little dab in the center of each one. Okay? Just a little dab.
Then you do what I'm doing.
Don't take much. Just a little bit. take your finger.
Don't really want to get it on your main tube, at least on the outside.
So, sometimes these bearings, you're going to have to use a little bit extra because these top ones have that damn oil groove in it. And because of that, it's wanting, the assembly lube wants to go down in that groove.
Yeah, it's very sticky, so you don't have
Yes.
to worry about it not getting anywhere.
Exactly. It is a sticky compound, so it will kind of stay where it needs to be. Okay.
You
All right.
don't need that much, that's all.
All right. So the tops of all our bearings are now very well lubricated. I want a little bit more than that on that rear main because it does carry a lot of load. So we want that like that. Okay. All right. Now, grab our crank. Me and Liam, when you properly install a crank, you take two people normally, you lay it down flat, one person grabs it from the front, other person grabs it from the rear.
I'll go around the other way, so I don't bump the camera.
Okay. Now, I'm going to grab the nose snout, and we want to lay it in here evenly together. There we go. She is laid in place. We do a,
Pretty much can't get it wrong as long as you're careful.
we want to do a spin,
There we go.
get some of this lubrication.
Distributed pancakes.
Yes. Okay,
There
as
we
you
go.
can see, we need more lubrication.
Just a few drops. Probably on the, yeah, this one too, that one and this one. That one's fine.
They're a little starved. Don't want them to be starved. You will see here on the camera, just like the top, there is a groove that your bearing has to sit in. And then it has to be flat. And then as it goes on, it has to be lubricated and then put in place. All right? So here we go with that process. We take a bearing, get our groove, bring it around, get it lined up there, and down there. These asses can be a little bit more of a pain in the ass, but
I think you got it.
she is in. We open up our lube, like so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate and install the bearings. Liam's going to come behind me and finger in all the bolts.
I'm good at figuring.
Okay. Where is the arrow on this? Goes this way. There you go. Oh, you might need
Arrow
to-
towards the back.
Wait, no,
Front.
arrow goes toward the front.
That's why it has an F next to the arrow.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, backwards. Good thing I checked that.
Yeah, see? Good to have two eyes, or four eyes. Anyway,
Actually, we have 6 because you're wearing glasses.
this is true. Okay, we're it. I can't talk. All right.
That's one.
Our next one,
That's
as you noticed, our front cap is a 2-bolt, but the next one is a 4-bolt. Okay,
Very
make
good.
sure we're going the right direction. Remember, with the bearing, it should be groove to groove.
Yeah.
This is the front groove to groove. Should be.
Oh, heck
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, sure is. There's your next one. All right.
Got assembly lube everywhere.
It happens, and it's okay. Assembly lube, guys.
It's just hard to get. It's hard to finger tight bolts when you have assembly lube all over.
You're
all over
like,
your bolts.
you're like, this stuff is all like thick and all that.
It gets places.
What happens to this stuff? You're probably wondering what happens to it when you start running the motor and all that. It literally breaks down and becomes part of your oil. Seriously. It breaks down and blends with your oil like it was never there. It's pretty cool. One of the reasons why assembly lube is so important in the assembly of a motor.
I need this now because you got.
Okay, I keep continually dropping bolts.
Yeah, we're clumsy today. You're not gonna hurt the bolts. You can drop the bolts all day long.
No, it's just a freaking inconvenience, really.
Yeah.
It's all it really.
Makes a really cool noise when it hits the concrete, though.
Yeah. Now what we are going to do, we got our torque wrench out. We've got our impact socket, which is a 5/8. Okay, on a 4-bolt main Chevy 350, your inners here, okay, get torqued down to 70 foot-pounds, okay? Your outer bolts, which are out here, and your two, or wait, no. These
These go with the inners.
Yeah, they go with the inners. Sorry, I almost screwed up. So all your inners are at 70. Your outers get torqued to 65. Okay? Now, let me show you guys my torque wrench. No, I do not have a digital torque wrench. I am not one of those people. So, you guys aren't going to be able to see the numbers because they're just way too small and the camera cannot focus in on it. So,
There, I got it.
okay, Liam's got it. So you got your numbers. Down here, this turns. See that? See how that turns? Okay, you want to bring it back to 0, which is right there. Now, you got numbers. You got numbers going up the shaft. I know that sounds dirty. And those are your increments in your foot-pounds. So we need to turn our dial up to 70, like this.
Takes a hot minute.
Well, and you got to see this down here on the bottom. This is your tensioning screw. So you want to loosen off your tensioning screw. There you go. Now it will go up easier. We got to bring it up too. Sorry guys, I got to take it out of camera sight for this part so I can actually see it. Then once I get it on the line, I'll put it back in camera view. Now, if you guys can see the 70.
Yeah, they can see it.
Okay, we got it up at 70. The 0 is at 70. So we are now at 70 foot-pounds. When you get to your mark, you come back down here on the bottom. You tighten up your screw by hand, and that locks your setting in place so it will not move. Okay? And now we're set. Now, I'm going to show you guys the torque sequence. I'm going to go around to this side so I am not in direct of the camera. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start in the middle and work in a clockwise outward direction. Okay? So, pay close attention. because I can only do this once. Well, I can do it more than once, but I really don't want to. So, Liam already brought the bolts in finger tight. Obviously, I'm going to have to bring them in a little bit more than that. So, we're not going to actually torque yet. We are close though. Okay, see that one's already bottomed out. We'll bring this one in, bottom in out too. Okay, now we can start our torque. Now, Liam's going to hold the back of the engine stand,
Do my best at least.
and I'm holding the front of the motor with my leg. Did you hear it?
There it goes. There you go.
Okay, that's torqued down to 70, that one bolt. Okay. We're going to bring this down. Okay. Now, we're going clockwise, correct? That is what I told you at the beginning. So, your next bolt is where? That's right there. Okay, we're going to bring it down in. Remember, these were only finger tightened, so I got to bring them down in flush first before we even start torquing on them. You want them bit down together, like so. Now, we're going to go and torque this one down. Okay, we come over here to our next one. Okay, now we come over here. Again, clockwise. We started in the center, we went to this outer, now we come over here, we come to this bolt right here.
These are like clockwise.
Yes,
Skipping the bolts we already done.
yes. It's like clockwise, but also in them really weird hypnotic
Square things.
swirly thingies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that one's at 70.
Now we're just going to speed up the process, just so we not taking all day.
Yeah.
We won't talk through it anymore. We'll just do it.
Come out here.
There we go.
That is your outer. Again, clockwise, y'all.
Oh, that one.
Woo! She wasn't all the way down in her seat. You guys hear it pop? The cap wasn't all the way down, seated up against the block. That's what you heard. Okay. Now I can torque her down.
There we go.
There's your first click. All right, on to the next bolt.
There we go.
Okay. Now come back to our rear main. Get her torque down. She
Yeah, a
wasn't.
little pop.
She had a little pop. She wasn't completely seated either.
Doesn't hurt it at all.
No, it's not hurting it. We're going in like a regular socket ratchet because basically that's what this is, but it has a torque thing on it so you can actually use it for both. Not recommended, but you can use it for both. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, shit, I almost made a boo-boo, guys.
Yeah, almost torqued
I almost
down.
torqued that one down before torquing this one down. Remember, we're going clockwise direction. Okay. All right.
And we're done.
Now, you loosen your set screw back off.
Yep.
Okay.
Now you gotta do the outer bolts.
Yep. You're going to take your 0 that's at 70, and you're going to back it down
5.
to 65. It only needs to go down 5. Okay. On the shaft, they go down in 10s, okay? But on the dial, it has numbers as well. Right now it's at 0. All we literally have to do, we're at 70 right now, we turn the dial from 0 all the way back to
Now 5 isn't marked, but it's in
5.
between the 4 and the 6. So
Yes, it's right.
It's that little hash mark.
that little hash mark right
There.
there. Now, we're going to do this one first. We're going to bring it to 65 foot-pounds. Okay. Go out to this one. The center main cap is officially all torqued down. Now, go on to the next outer one. Just like before, you know, snug her up. Okay. Snugged up. Back up to this one. And that one's torqued down to 65. That one's down to 65. Okay, last two guys. Still going clockwise. Okay. These last two, once they are torqued down, our crank will officially be installed. All right, last two. They are seated. Here we go. One. All right. There you go, guys. Crank installed, rear main seal installed, new main bearings installed.
And it should spin.
Everything's, yep.
Yep, spins real easy.
Yeah.
Look how it just glides.
We are done with installing the crank, as you guys know. We've got the crank now rotated to bottom dead center. So now we are going to take our first piston and rod combo. We're going to install our bearings, lubricate those. We're going to then coat the skirt and the outside and the rings with some oil. I will show you guys how to set your rings. It's actually very easy. And then we'll put the spring compressor on it and then tap it down in the hole. And right before we do that little part of tapping it down in the hole, I will show you guys my little DIY trick. So, I got all that talking done. Less talking, more working. Here we go. Pay attention. Okay, first, grab your bearing, just like on the crank. William's going to do some custom camera work on this part, which is good because it is needed for this part. Okay, just like with the main bearings on the crank, basically the same on the rods, but they're smooth. There is no oil groove, okay? Take these, line them up with your notch, push them in, make sure they are flat on both sides, like so, and we're good there. Set this down real quick. And we're going to install the bearing on our cap like so. Now, I'm not going to lubricate these until right before we drop them in their hole. We gotta lubricate the outside of the pistons and set the rings first and get the spring compressor.
Ring compressor.
Yeah, ring compressor installed on the outside of the pistons. So there's our first bearings installed, all nice and shiny. They're nice and level. We're going to set that off to the side over here. Okay, so, oh shit, that was a whole lot.
There we go.
Okay, lubricate all this out here like so. Okay, get it all worked down in there. Okay, all nice and worked down in there. It's good. Okay, now we got that's lubricated. Okay. I don't have a rag down here with me. This part gets messy, guys. You kind of have to deal with it. All right, so your top ring, you want to take the groove on it. If you can see that, I'll push it up so you can see it a little better. You're gonna take that, you're gonna set that straight up. Or now, actually in this situation, it would be straight down. But actually, you want it straight up. So as you're setting it right here, technically it looks like you're setting it straight down, but once it's in the motor, it will be straight up. The next one underneath that one, okay, you want it the complete opposite of the top one. So that one's going down, the top one is going up. Then your oil ring on the bottom, basically you want it to be about halfway around away from your gaps. So you got this gap going that way, you got a gap going this way, then you got a gap on an oil ring going that way. Sometimes your oil rings are a two-piece. So turn it, see if you got any more grooves. We do not. So we are set there. Now slide this over like so. Okay. Hold it like that. Now take it to the limit one more time.
Hold on.
The wrong way. Okay, we're not going full tight yet. Now, find you some hose, preferably 3/8. Basically needs to fit over your rod studs. Okay, and what we're going to do is, by doing this little DIY, you can buy this shit from your local tool guy, and you're going to pay stupid amounts of money when you can just recycle at home. This hose came off of one of our earlier projects that the hose was replaced on. We kept the old one around. Okay. I want to try to make them both about the same size. Just to be safe. Okay. Cut that off there, like so. Got about 2 equal sizes of rubber, right? Now, come down here. You see how I kind of left a bend in them. You're going to see why in a minute. Take these, slide them over your bolts. Okay, just like that. Right, work them up on there. Get your little thing, your little bend facing out. Same thing here. Okay, a little DIY in for you. Okay, see how you got your bend facing out on both sides? Okay, get your rubber mallet, because you're going to need it. We come back over here, stick that like that. We get our socket, a wrench, like so. We come down in here. Now, the purpose of the rubber keeps you from scarring your crank journals. When this comes down and meets your crank, your studs want to hit your crank and scar it all up. We're going to drop this down in cylinder number 1. Okay, remember, we do not have our ring compressor fully tightened up yet. I'm going to show you why in just a second. Okay, we're going to get that down like that. Okay, reason why. We want this flat. If I was to tighten that up with it in my hand, it would have been all crooked and all that stuff. And it wouldn't have worked right. So you put it on semi-tight but fairly loose. Then you drop the piston down in your cylinder, bottoming it out like so. Then you take your spring compressor. My voice just cracked and went all kinds of high. Okay. Tighten. I like to push down on these style of compressors. There are different kinds. This is just a little cheapy version. Okay. But be careful because it is sharp. Okay. Fully tightened up. Whoa, why did my voice get all kinds of loud all of a sudden? Did you hear that? That was weird, like it was on a PA. That was, wow. Okay, I'm gonna set that back there. Now, Liam can shine down in here. See that I got this crooked? No problem. We'll just take this, straighten her back out, about like that. The dot is toward the front of the motor.
You can see the hose right there.
Hose is already coming out. Now, watch.
Already up. Make sure they're on the right side. They're right sides, and they are.
Okay. Now watch, guys. Take this end of your hammer. You're going to use it as a dead blow. Very lightly in the center of your piston. Tap. You're driving your piston in to the bore.
And there you go. It's in.
Yes, she is. Now, Liam, watch at the bottom. Watch the hose.
Just guide her right in.
There she is.
All right in place.
Now, we're not going to show you guys all of these going in. Okay. We're only showing this one to you guys in normal speed. The rest of them we are doing in hyperlapse. Now, guys, I made a boo-boo. Let's see if you guys can tell me what that boo-boo is.
You forgot to put that.
We forgot to lubricate the bearing. But do not stress. All we have to do is lift the piston back up slightly, lubricate the bearing, tap it back down. It's not a big deal.
So should I be able to?
You might be able to push it up by hand. It's going. We have enough lubrication on it. It might go up. It's going.
There we go.
We got enough space to get.
I can get a finger in there.
Let's go up just a hair more. We
I
gotta
don't know
go.
if I can. Actually, the hoses. There.
Okay, that's fine. All right, as long as we can get down in there, get a good amount of lube on that bearing. And I mean a good amount of lube on that bearing. All right, William's got that one lubed back up. Now I get my rubber mallet, dead below the top of the piston again, just get it down right back where it goes. Boom. Now Liam can pull our rubber hose off. It has done its purpose. Liam is now going to put on the rod cap. We got to also change the socket. We got these snug down. They're not torqued yet. We do not torque them until the next rod right beside it goes in. So, that being said, I'm staying down here because it's probably going to be easier for me to pull down
Possibly.
to do it this way.
Right.
So, tell me when. All right, go.
Okay. Turn it up there. There.
You put the pin in.
That's it.
Oh, okay. We've now rotated. Let's check for any nasties down in there that we might not want down in there. And I'm going to grab my next bearing. Yes, these two we're still doing in normal speed because we want to show you guys that you will know after you install your first two pistons, you will know if you installed them wrong because you will not be able to give the motor a full rotation. It will bind about halfway through. Hey guys, some minor technical difficulties. As you guys can see, we've already got half the bottom end reassembled already. We had some problems with our ring compressor yesterday, so we weren't able to complete the bottom end yesterday, but we've got it all taken care of. We're back today. We're going to torque these real quick, and then we're going to switch over to hyperlapse and finish up the rest of the motor. So,
Well, the rest of the crank, rest of the.
well, yeah, the
pistons.
rest of the bottom end, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to torque your rod caps and then go to hyperlapse. So, here we go. Liam's got the torque wrench right there. I've got the motor. The bolts on your caps get torqued down to 45 foot-pounds.
Just double check.
Yes, I've already got it preset. I set it this morning before we got started. Okay, here we go. I've got the engine braced. Liam is, there you go. Did you hear it click?
Yeah.
You don't need to put that much hoorah in it. 45 foot-pounds is not
Was that a click?
much. Yes, it was. That's why I said
Oh,
you don't
wow.
need to put that much hoorah in it. 45 foot-pounds is not much.
Did it click?
No,
There
there
it
it
is.
is. There you go. Now check the other two again, the first ones. Okay. Now, what we do is, and hopefully the camera can catch this, if not, Liam can reposition it slightly. We get our wrench back out. We switch our sockets over to our 5/8, and we do another motor rotation several times. Make sure nothing's binding up, motor's turning good. You do that with all of them after you do a torque sequence. Okay, keep going. The bolt's going to get tighter because you're adding stuff. There you go. Keep it going. We want 4 rotations. Keep going.
The bolt still turns.
Yep. There you go. There you go. We ain't got
Pretty
no
smooth.
binding.
That's pretty smooth.
You're also
Once the bolt
doing
tight.
this to make sure your assembly loop has a chance to really get worked around on the bearings.
Yeah, it's spinning pretty freely
Okay,
now.
now.
A little more added mass than.
All right. While we're at it, get this one going straight down. That way it doesn't move anymore. That way it's ready for the next set. Straight. Yeah, that's right there.
Pretty close.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, you've now seen the torquing of the rods. We now have our first 4 pistons and rods in. Now we are going to switch over and do the final 4. Okay, so here we go. Hey guys, okay, as you can see, all of our pistons and rods are in. We've rotated the motor several times, make sure there wasn't no binding or anything, made sure the lube, the ultra slick penetrating, or not penetrating well, assembly oil got really good and worked around on everything. Before we end today's video though, we are going to stab the cam. Now real quick, I want to show you guys while Liam's got the camera. Let me get the spotlight real quick before we start closing this motor up. And you guys can't see it no more. For you newcomers, if you look over here, this is the oil ports that we opened up. Normally they got a bunch of casting in there from the mold. So you get rid of all that casting that's in there and it helps the oil drain better, faster. We also did the same thing up here at the front. If you can see those holes backlit, they are normally full of a lot of casting and the holes are even a lot smaller than that from the extra casting. We went ahead and got all that out of there too. So that's what I meant by we opened up some oil ports and everything. Now, to end today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to stab a cam real quick. Make sure that it is, timing marks are lined up when it goes back in. We already made sure that we set the motor back at top dead center. Put number one piston straight up. Your timing dot straight up down here. And your keyway is facing your cylinder, and or by trying to remember it, you can also say that it's facing 2 o'clock. Now, if you guys will remember, this cam was brand new originally, and it never got fired up on. It's never actually been ran, so it's in still new condition. We just wiped the old assembly lube off so that we can put fresh on it. So that's what we're doing here. And get it all nice and coated real good here with some assembly lube. It originally had like grease type assembly lube on it.
Yep. And we washed our hands before we started doing this.
Yes,
So
I always wash my hands. We just don't cover that in the videos that much. Always make sure you guys have clean hands when you're doing stuff like this. Even if you got gloves on, make sure you got a clean pair of gloves on. You do not want any metal fragments or anything getting in this, because these are your bearing surfaces, these shiny parts. That's the parts that ride on bearings. So you definitely don't want no trash getting in there. Okay, now when stabbing a cam, you have to go very slow and be very careful. You do not want to nick, score, or scratch your cam bearings. That is very important. You see how slow I'm going. I've made it past the first bearing. Now I got some free space. Now I'm hitting the second bearing. You got to sometimes kind of do a wobble back and forth. Not a wobble, a twist. Turn the cam back and forth like that sometimes to get it going. Okay, we're in the front bearing, in the second bearing right now. We're going to come along. We're going to add some more assembly lube, like so. Get her nice and lubed up. Now we're not putting our lifters in yet. The lifters will not go in until the cylinder heads go on, which will be in the next video, by the way. Okay, here we go. Gonna keep going. Okay, we've made it past the second bearing. We're sliding on, got our free space. We're hitting that third bearing now. Got to do a little walk in it again. Okay. And we are now in the third bearing. Getting ready to go into the fourth. Okay, a little more assembly lube. Yes, you have to be a little overzealous with your assembly lube on your cams. You want them really, really good and lubed. Okay, now this is going to be where it starts getting tricky because I don't have a handle. So all my balancing is out here on the end now, and I have to keep from messing up any of the bearings. So I'm going to go even slower now, since I do not have a cam installation tool. Okay, we're almost past our third bearing. There we go, we're past our third bearing. Come on. Okay, going into our fourth. There she is in the fourth bearing. We got one bearing to go. Okay. Oops. Okay. Get this nice and lubricated. All right. Final bearing. Here we go. Well, wait a minute. We also, before going into our final bearing, got to get our timing gear facing downward, like so. Because when it goes in,
Dot.
the dot,
The dot down at the bottom.
the timing dot right there has to line up with the one on the crank. We will show you that when we get obviously further in. Okay, here we go. Strong thumbs, strong thumbs. Not so strong thumbs. Okay, we're going into the back bearing. There she is. Oh, nope. I thought that there she was. There we go. Now, we rotate, get her lined up, and push her home. Let me do a little bit of this action. I want to get that assembly lube on them bearings good and worked around. Okay, let's get our timing mark line back up here. There we go. Your marks are perfectly lined up. Again, this is a gear drive, guys. There's no chain involved in this one. This is a gear driven timing set, which I prefer myself, again, because they don't stretch and all that stuff like a chain or a belt does. They last 10 times longer. Yes, they whine. They whine and scream because they're a straight cut gear, almost, but gear on gear, they whine, all right? And this is why even more that they freaking whine. This is your connecting gears. They slide in here after you get your top and your bottom gear lined up. You got to get the center gears lined up teeth-wise, which is right there-ish. Come on. I'm getting it. Top gear's a little off on the... All right, guys, sorry about that little pause there. We were having some technical difficulties, and
You got it on backwards.
yeah, hold on. This will be an easy fix now that I got her lined up perfectly.
You would think so.
Well, yes. It's all right. I got it.
There you go.
See?
There.
There we go. So there's a little knob on the back of this that goes up against the back. It goes up against the block. It keeps the gear pushed out. So there you go. The timing gear set is in. Okay, we're top dead center, as you guys can see. I'll let Liam get the camera and get down close so you guys can see that the timing marks are perfectly lined up. We got our center gears in. Only thing we got left to do with the timing set is this little buddy. This is a cam button. Okay? What the cam button does is it's a two-piece and one floats on a shaft inside the other. What these do, they go in the end of your cam right here, okay? And what that does is when you have your timing cover on, this pushes up against your timing cover and keeps the cam from walking out. Yes, they can walk out. That's why you have to have a cam button. You guys now can see our short block is officially complete. Yes, we still got to put the oil pump on it and the oil pan, but those things cannot go on until I get the heads on and get the valve train buttoned up. And then once I do that, then we'll flip the motor over, put the oil pan on and the oil pump and screen and pickup and all that. So, with that being said, that is going to end today's video. We will see you guys on Saturday on YouTube, 9 a.m. Standard Pacific Time. Yes.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, Pacific Standard Time. I said it backwards. Anyway, please like the videos, subscribe, and please hit that bell icon over in the corner so you get first alerts every time we post anything new or when we go live here on YouTube on Saturdays. We will see you guys Saturday, and on Monday we will continue the reassembly of our small block Chevy 350. I'm Big D. He's Liam. We're out.